And start sharing screen. Let me find my. Okay, so today we will try to finish the last part of that IMDb movie data set analysis. Okay, so the third part from the author is to try to find the top keywords and general trends by generation. So let's see how did the author did. So in this part of research, the author raised three questions. The first question is to try to find a curve, a trend of number of movies released year by year. And the second question is keyword trends by generation. So here, generation, then the author said going to group the data frame into 5 generations, like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. So we'll group like this kind of generation, okay, and also general trends by generation, okay. So that's the general idea, okay, for this part of research. So let's see. So the first question is try to figure out the number of movies released year by year. So because you want to find how many movies is it every year released. So for sure we can do group by with the release year column. And then we do count. Okay, then we do count. And over here we show the header information. So over here it's year by year. And the number of movies, okay, in this movie database generated. Okay, so we have this data. So after you have this movie count, is it a movie count? And the next part, what the author did is try to do the plotting, okay. So for the plotting, it's x-axis is the movie count index, so it's release year, so year by year. And the y-axis, then is the number of movie released, so movie count, okay, movie count. So the author is just going to do some linear chart, okay, some line chart. So as the x-axis based on the index and the y-axis is number of movies, and you also specify color and the label, and also the title and the X label, Y label. So previously we already learned regarding plotting. And then here is a plotting result. So here it shows year by year, and number of movies released. And here is the year. And from this plotting, we can clearly see number of movie released increasing year by year. Yes. And also it says it's in accelerated growth. Is it after 2000? Is it accelerated much faster than the previous decades? Okay. So here we see the movie released year by year trend. And what the next part we try to find out is the keywords trend by generation that we want to see. Well, what's the major topic? Is it nowadays compare with the 60s, 70s? Is it interest? So that's a keyword trend. So in order to do this, so first what the author did is try to find out the release year unique. Is it a unique year? Okay, because in your original data set, you have like 1960, quite a number of rows. Is it 1961 and quite a number of rows? So what over here is we want to know each unique year. So here it gave us the unique year. And we also sort it in ascending order, is it? And after this, after we investigate this unique year, we can also see it looks like it's consecutive year by year, okay? There is no interruption, looks. And then to get like 60s, is it, how do we get 60s? Okay, it's the first 10, is it? And the second 10 is going to be 70s. The third 10 is going to be 80s. The fourth 10 is going to be 90s. And after all of that is going to be 2000, is it? So then we have the generation category, is it, for 60s, 70s, 90s, 8, and the 2000s of this. So once we get of this generation, and then what next we want to do is we want to find out the most appeared keywords. Okay, but for each generation, and for each, how do we do that? Okay, and for this part, the data frame. This is a data frame that we are going to use. So let's just take another pick, another glimpse of the data. This has ID, popularity, budget, revenue, title, cast, direct, keyword. So we are going to analyze the keywords. Is it for each generation, the most appeared keyword. And the next part is going to be the genres, the most appeared, is it? And then here we have the release date information, is it? And from this release date, then you can find the generation category. So what over here we did is we have the generations. If you recall previously, we already do the slicing. Is that with the release year for each of the generation, okay? So now you have this list, okay? This list will contain each generation, and within it, and you have the number, each individual year is in 1960, 1961, so you have all those information. And then we can also give each generation a name, is it 60, 17, 80, 90s, those information, okay? And then next, let's see. So regarding this times, the last one is the 2000, generation 2000, is it? And this is a data frame, original data frame. And then we take the release year column, is it? And then we try to do filtering. So we are going to pick all of the records that in the generation of 2000, then we get this data frame. So here just try to show us, okay, then let's see if this will give us the 2000. If you take a look, yeah, the first 5 of that is 2015, so it does show it's 2000. That's what we get. And then regarding that, let's see, the DF, okay. And what we get, so of this going to be the 2000s, is it? of the records. Then you assign it to this data frame, DFN. And with that DFN, if you recall last class, we discussed this find top Python function that you pass in a column and then you tell this function how many top items you want to get. Is it? So here, by default, I record it's 3. Is it? And here you say I just want to get the top 1. Is it? And if we take a look, the result, it will give you the keyword and the number of times it appeared in 2000s. This generation. Is it? So the keyword and the number of times it appeared in our data frame, okay? And if you recall that find the top method, because for the keywords, it's separated by those vertical lines. So what it did is it first going to concatenate all rows, so all keywords. So keywords from all rows, I should say like this, keywords from all of the rows. Is it? And then you do the split, call strings split method function. Is it? After you call split, then you will generate a list. Is it? And with the list, and then we can do the value count, is it? And do the sorting, and then you find the top n items. And here we just want to find the top 1, okay? So that's what that method did. Okay, so that's, and over here is just trying to show us for the 2000s, okay? And what is the next part we are going to do? Because we have data from 60s, then 70s, then 80s, 90s, and 2000s. So we have the data from all of those. Okay, so first let's take a look. How are we going to find out of the information we need? So we first create an empty data frame, and we define it as dfr3, okay? And then we are going to loop. So here, this S is a loop in the 60, 70, 80, 90, and 2000s, is it? And then you are going to call the release year in that specific generation, is it? For each of the generation, is it? It's going to filter out all of the records. And then you assign it to a new data frame, okay? And with this new data frame, what we are going to do is, from the keyword, we are going to find the top 1. And then we are going to assign this to the top, is it? And we also get the names index, is it? And what over here is we have this dictionary, is it? And with this dictionary, then you create a new data frame. And then you assign it to this DFN2, is it? But because here we have 1, 2, 3, we have 5 generations. So we are going to combine all 5 generations data frame together, is it? And then we have this new data frame, okay? And what this data frame gave us, then we can clearly see. Okay, so we have the keyword, then we have year, and we have the counts. So this is the counts appeared, is it, with this specific keyword, okay? And from this result, we can kind of see the 60s and 70s, the most occurred keyword are both based on novel, okay, based on novel. And for 90s, then it's independent field, okay. And after 2000, it's woman director, okay. So those are the keyword the top keyword appeared in each generation, okay? And with that information, then the next part, what we are going to do is we are going to see we can also do some plotting, okay? So here we define each generation, okay, as a string for a list, is it? And then we get to the index. So the index, be careful here. The index for this data frame is a keyword. Okay, is a keyword. That's the index, okay. And then we also want to know how many generation, is it? So you get length and then you can generate the range. So this is going to be from 0 to 4, is it? And after that, then we can start to do plotting, is it? So you call a pie plot. We create a figure and a subplot, okay? And then because we are going to do horizontal bar plotting, for the bar plotting, what we need is we still need X and Y. X-axis value and Y-axis value, is it? So here we try to get the value. So we are going to use the top counts. So top is the number. Is it some number? Okay. So we have those number and we assign them. So basically Y1 and Y2 have the same value, is it? For the bar plotting, what it did is the count. Is it? So we have the position. So position is here. Is it? So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it? And then here we have generation. Okay. And we also set the tick. Is it? And the tick label. So tick and tick label is going to be based on the keywords. Is it? So those are the string. Okay. And the position here you specify. Okay. So we have those information, and then you can also do the set label, is it? So that's the bar part we can complete. And then if you take a closer look, so first let's take a look at the result. The result this time is a little bit different from what we learned before, is it? So it's bar plotting, is it? Horizontal bar plotting. So here is a keyword, and here is that count, the top count, numbers, is it? But if you take a look on the right side, looks like it also has some axis value, is it? So that's interesting, is it? But this is a good report, is it? It's very obvious, is it? Oh, the woman director is after the 2000s, is it? And also you can clearly get the number of counts, is it? So it's the visualization is very nice. So how do we get this kind of plotting? Is we can call the twin X, okay, for the plotting. Then it says it's create another axis to present the right side y-axis label. Okay, and you still do the bar plotting, and in this case, it's the same one, is it? And but you set the ticks and the labels is going to be different, is it? And then you can also set the string for the label, okay? And we can also do the title, but all of this part, if you take a look, it's on the twin, the twin X, is it? So for this right side y-axis, okay, and this set title is for the whole graph, okay. So if you want to have the left side and right side y-axis, then you can make use of this twin X, okay. So it's quite helpful. And then the next part, the last question in this research is about the geron trends by generation. So pretty much similar, is it? So you need to have the generations and their names defined. Then same thing as it, we do the loop through the times. So each of it is going to be like 1961 to 1969, etc. So it contains all of that, so that unique number of that, so that you can do this check that this release year, if it is in that list, basically, and filter out of the records, etc. And with that, then you can find the top general, that the top one, okay? At the same time, you also mark the year, etc. And you get from this respective name, that with the index. Okay, then we combine all of the data frames, so as usual, etc. And then you have this new data frame. So we have this new data frame. This time, this is generals. Generals, that. And from the generals, it's kind of 60s, 70s drama, 80s it's comedy, and the 90s and 2000s go back to drama, okay? So it looks like we have this kind of trend. And then the same thing for the general summary report, okay? So we are also going to do the right side, y-axis, and the left side. Oh, here's the left side and the right side, okay? So this is the right side, is it? So you have kind of like double y-axis on a single graph, okay? So the way to do it, we can call this twin X, okay? And it's pretty much similar as the previous one. And then we have the result, that we have the plotting. So the plotting, and we have the left y-axis, we also have right y-axis, is it? But the bar, we only do a single bar. And with this twin X, you can, if you do like the line plot, okay, if you do line plot, and one can be based on the right axis, and you can also plot another one. The y-axis is the right one, okay? Then in that case, you will have two lines, okay? So you may have this one for left, is it? And you may have the other one for right, okay? So then in that case, you have two lines one for the left y-axis and the other for the right y-axis. You can have more, is it? Okay. And for bar, if you want to, because over here, both use the counts, is it? So the bar going to be similar, is it? Unless this one has different distribution, then it's going to be different bar, okay? But in this case, because the drama and this consistent with each other, so that's why we only have this single bar drawing. Okay, so that's, we finish the third exploration. Then you can write some summary. Okay, based on each individual question, that result, you can see, oh, the number of movie released increasing year by year, etc. And for keyword, you say 90s, 70s, keyword based on novel. Is there something else? And then after 2000, it's woman director, etc. For genre, looks like drama mostly filmed in all generations. The only 80s, it's a comedy. So you can come up with this kind of summary, okay? And after the summary, then, because this is, generally speaking, when you do data analysis, you need to write some report. So you should also provide a conclusion. Conclusion? So what's your research, and you answer all of those questions for each part, okay? Okay, so that's regarding this case study. So